So for me, basketball was like thrust upon me, I'll say. I was 15 walking down a hall in my high school in Augusta, Georgia. And this random lady came up to me and was like, "You want to go to college?" And I looked around. I was like, "Of course. I'm gonna go to college." Like, that was my dream. No one in my family at that time had been to college. No one in my family at that time had graduated from high school except my father. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm going to college. Of course. At 15, I'm like, of course I'm going to college. And I'm from the inner city. So not a lot of people were going to college from the inner city in the 80s. I graduated in 1988 from high school. So 1985, this lady, random lady's coming up to me who I don't know. So I was like, okay, just keep walking. She walks back up to me and is like, "Do you play basketball?" And I hadn't heard of it at all. I was like, "I don't even know what that is, ma'am." Like, I'd seen it on TV with my dad when I was young, but it had been years since I'd watched basketball. We didn't even have a TV at home that I could watch basketball on. And so I was just like, I'm not gonna be playing any sport. I just wanna go to college. And she was like, "Well, you can go to college for free." And I was like, "Oh, well, you know, my family's poor, so I don't have any money to pay for college." So this piqued my interest. And she was just like, 2:30, meet me in the gym. And I was like, "I can't meet you in the gym." My dad was really strict. So we went to school on the school bus, came home at the right time, was in the house. He worked 2 jobs. And so his first job didn't stop until 3:30, and I had to be home with food cooked when he got home. And I wasn't allowed to deviate from that, or I got in trouble. And so I told her, I was like, "I can't be anywhere. I'll be home. Like, my bus outside, I'm gonna be on the bus. I get home at this time. My dad won't let me stay anywhere." And the next day she came up to me again and was like, "How about this? I'm gonna go home with you and talk to your dad." And I was like, "No, you're not. You're not going to talk to my dad." Mind you, again, I was in a very abusive home. So my dad ran everything. He was everything. The next day she shows up at my house. Unannounced. My dad's there, and my dad calls me out and he says, "You know, this lady," who I found out her name was Coach Brantley, Lynn Brantley, really wants you to play for us, for her, and she's going to pick you up for the games and drop you off after the game. She's gonna drop you off after practices, but your grades cannot drop." And I had straight A's. I'd skipped a class. I was super smart, so I wasn't like I didn't have the grades, but he was like, "If they can't drop, nothing can happen. If it does, I'm cutting off all this stuff." And I was afraid. Like, I was like, okay. And I'd never played in my life. So we get to practice. The first day I'm there after practice, I don't have shoes because I have huge feet. And in 85, having a size 13 shoe, and I was like 6.5 feet. I hadn't even grown to my full stature yet. I was on the smaller side of 6 feet, and she had another girl who played with 6'3", and she wanted twin towers. And she taught me like literally the white square around the basket. All she said was, "Every time you get the ball, you're gonna hit that square." And that's all I did my first year. Like, literally got the ball, I did a pivot, and I shot that square and went in. My coach was true to her word. I ended up going to college at that time for free. I had a full scholarship. I ended up being pregnant, and all of the schools dropped out except 2. I ended up choosing Georgia State in Atlanta. The coach was understanding. He knew I was gonna have the baby. I wouldn't be in school in August. My daughter was born in September, so I wouldn't be there until after that, and then I would have to get into shape after being pregnant. And they were willing to work with me with that so I can just have classes and do my workouts and everything else. After my first year, my coach got fired, and the new coach told me that school wasn't a place for kids. And so I left there. I told her I wasn't gonna give my kid to my mom or anything like that. So I ended up leaving and working after that year was up, and then found out I was pregnant again and moved to Texas with my mother. So my mother was very much into all religions as I grew up. I didn't know her backstory about her losses. So growing up, we were Muslims, we were Hare Krishnas, and Christianity was something that came later when I was older. I can't say it was all straight and narrow. I ended up putting my daughter up for adoption, and I started college. I went to school there, St. Edward's in Austin, Texas. I was welcomed there as part of a community, and it was really a life-saving measure for me because, again, everything wasn't straight and narrow when I got saved. Like I think I went into it thinking that this is gonna be really, that this is gonna lead me, and not really thinking about the part about studying, showing yourself approved, and sticking with the ministry that you have to keep growing you in your faith. Winning a WNBA championship for 2 different teams was crazy. I literally had thought that the Lord didn't have it for me to win a title because I'd been in the finals so many times. In the ABL, I was in the finals and lost. In the W, I was in the finals and lost. Overseas, I was in finals and lost. And I was like, well, maybe that's my testimony that I can make it through any type of loss and still be happy and excited to continue playing this game and in doing this. So I kind of didn't realize in 2008 when we won that we were gonna win. I kind of felt like I'm on the team we probably gonna lose because, you know, this is my testimony to be this excited and happy even with losses. But when we won, it was unbelievable. I immediately started crying. I've been blessed beyond measure in this journey that I'm on. I've had some tough times, but I've always leaned on the fact that the Lord is putting me through what I need to get through to get to where I should be. I retired in 2012 from WNBA and I played overseas in 2014. My daughter I put up for adoption, ended up meeting her at 18. We have an amazing relationship now, and in 2014, I ended up playing with my daughter professionally overseas. And it was just an amazing of not only her coming back and wanting to be a part of my life after I put up for adoption. When I put up for adoption, I asked that he would allow me the opportunity to see her, to let her know that it wasn't because she wasn't wanted or loved, but it was because I loved her that much that I knew I couldn't take care of her the right way. The Lord gave me the opportunity to tell her in person, face to face, and to share everything that I have and know, and still be, she still calls me mom. And I think that if it was nothing else he did for me, that's something that I just can't thank him enough. When anyone asks me about Jesus, I've been asked, why are you a Christian? What is that? I just tell them that no matter what your circumstance, God can take that and make you into what he views you as. Like, I was often caught up in my circumstances, like being a poor kid from the hood, being a single mom, a teenage single mom, twice over, like all the mistakes I made, and he still loved me. And I would encourage you to hold on to that. Like, that love is something that you can't find anywhere. I'm Taj McWilliams Franklin, and I play for him.